We couldn't be happier to welcome our next two guests. These two dancers and choreographers have resumes the size of Alaska, working with A-list talent like Michael Jackson, Britney Spears, Pink, Prince, Justin Timberlake, Katy Perry, and of course, Janet Jackson. Nick Flores and Kelly Konno, welcome to the Kelly Alexander Show.
Yay! So happy to be here, Kelly.
Hey, Kelly.
I'm so glad to have you both on the show together. The fans right now have probably passed out, so I'm very excited about this. To have two of you guys together, it's awesome. And it's such a treat to have you both because you know, such rock stars to me. So thank you so much for doing the interview.
Oh, we are honored, Kelly. I'm so proud of you for, doing what you're doing because I remember you back in the day at convention at Triple Threat,
It's true. I'm not a dancer, but I would go and watch you guys do what you needed to do, so it's good.
You're helping keep dance alive.
This is true. I'm always a big fan because I can't do it. So if I can promote it, that's very
awesome.
good. Although I do have to say,
calling.
I have a wicked running man. I'm not sure if that has a place in dance right now, but I can still do
always.
We don't always have a place.
It's classic. Yeah.
We're doing it right now.
Yay! It's true. So I wanted to ask you guys both. I'll start with Nick. How did you start in dance, Nick? Did you know right away as a kid like this is where you were headed?
I did. I was 5 and I couldn't stop dancing. So my parents put me in dance class. And that gave me a place to release all my energy because all I wanted, anytime music came on, it was uncontrollable.
That's amazing. Kelly, what about you?
Yeah, I had cousins in dance, and I think I was just so young. My parents just put us in, and I loved it. And I never stopped doing it, and started adding more and more classes, and was given the choice. Would you rather do something else? And I kept saying no, and then it just stayed with me.
When you guys were both growing up, I'll start with Kelly on this one. Who did you actually admire in the world of dance? Like, who was your Michael Jordan and or Wayne Gretzky, if you will?
Oh, interesting. You know what it was? I would come to LA every summer, and I remember being in I remember being in dance class and seeing Lori Warner, who was she danced for Prince, she danced for Michael. She was like just she was in Janet's Rhythm Nation, and I remember watching the Rhythm Nation video just going, I can't believe that is one of her dancers. So I was pretty starstruck by any of the dancers from actually, and I'm not lying, the Rhythm Nation project, because I was, in class with them going, oh my goodness, I'm one step closer to, being one of Janet's dancers.
That's awesome. Nick, what about you? Who was your Michael Jordan?
Ooh, I would say Gene Kelly.
Vintage.
He was amazing. Always amazing to watch his style. And then whenever I, found out about MTV, I was addicted to, of course, Michael and Janet Jackson. They're both pretty influential.
Yeah. Just slightly.
Just a little bit.
Now, I'm sure the people right now that are listening are like, how is it that Nick and Kelly are both hanging out together doing this interview together? So I wanted to ask, how did you guys become friends? Was it because of the All For You tour?
It was actually prior to that.
Before that.
When I first came to LA, I was hanging out with a young group of dancers. Some of them were Canadian. We ended up at someone's apartment. Before I know it, Kelly Konno walks through the door. I don't know who she is, but she has her mom with her. And she said, Mom, I have to show you a new music video I just did, and puts a VCR tape in the VCR. and it was the first time I saw it. It was If.
Nice.
And so she had just shot this video. She's now playing it for her mother. I'm seeing it for the first time. And then I'm looking at Kelly, looking at the TV, looking at Kelly saying, oh my God, is this real? Like, is this really happening?
Oh my goodness.
And on top of that, she was so nice and sweet and talkative and answering all our questions because I couldn't believe like I was meeting a dancer who was dancing with Janet Jackson.
Yeah, I mean, we became friends from that day on. And once I'd run into him on different jobs or that he was on and in the business, and then all of a sudden up came the audition for All For You, and Nick was out there doing his thing, and I was rooting for him, and next thing you know, he booked the All For You tour, and we toured together, and it was amazing.
Wow, that's so awesome. And I wanted to ask you, for someone who is not, or not in the LA dance scene, is it actually as small as we might think? Because I think a lot of people from outside might think, oh my God, there's thousands of them. But I know, like, for example, in radio here in Canada, I know a fair amount of people across the country. Is it the same thing for you guys?
Well, for me not being in it anymore, I feel like obviously I don't know the whole new generation of dancers, like the new crop coming up in LA. But I think it was smaller in our day. I mean,
Yeah.
I'm sure it's small for them, for the new generation as well. But for us, we kind of know, like, we know everybody that was.
It's like a small network of people that are actually involved in the industry. But
Yeah.
then, whenever Janet had her audition, I remember there being close to 2,000 people
Mhm.
that showed up. So it is a large community also, especially when it comes to Janet, because people from all over the world travel to LA to audition for her.
If we bring you back, Kel, because you guys were talking about If, so I have to go back to 93, because if I've done my math correctly, that's when you started with her.
So yes.
So how did you actually get the start to dance with Janet? Did you just go on an audition? Were you able to just do that?
Oh yeah, no, I got the call, I went on the audition. I was like fresh, barely had any work behind me, and I went to the audition, didn't get it. I got down to the very end, and then I didn't get it because they just didn't have a spot for me later on, I found. But I was devastated because I totally thought I was going to get it for some reason. And then Tina Tina hit me up a week later on the phone, and I was like, "Why is Tina Landon calling me? This is crazy." And she said, "I'm sorry, Kelly, about the Janet audition. Just didn't have a spot for you, but I really liked you." And she offered me a spot on Prince's tour. So I did Prince's tour, and then after that, Tina called me about maybe 7 months later after they'd finished their promo tour with Janet, and she goes, I think it was Josie or no, it was either Jennifer Lopez, because she was dancing for Janet at the time, decided to pursue their acting career. So they had a spot open. So they wanted me to come in and audition. So I came in privately by myself and had to learn If, and then had to go to the rehearsal and dance with the rest of the dancers to make sure that I fit in. And that's when Janet walked in the room. And then they told me I got it. And I was like, what?
What is it like? And I want to ask each of you this. What was it like seeing Janet walk in for the first time? Like, was that the first time, Kel, that you saw her was in that audition, like in the flesh kind of thing?
Oh, yes. That was my first time. I think I was so focused on just, I don't know. I don't remember my mindset. I just don't remember. I don't remember being completely like starstruck, because I think I was so focused on dancing and getting through the combo.
Mm-hmm.
But it was afterwards, I think, that it hit me, and then they were like, "Okay, pack your bags. We're going to Hawaii to rehearse, and we're going to be sleeping over at Janet's tomorrow." So I mean, it was just a lot all at once.
That's immersion.
Yeah, it was so fast that I just was like, I don't even remember what happened. It was just my life changed in a matter of, that moment.
And you weren't even 20 yet, right? Like you were like 18, 19?
Oh, I think, I was 18.
Wow, that's crazy. And Nick, what was it like for you when you met Janet for the first time?
Well, I remember we were auditioning in a huge rehearsal studio called the Dome. And in the Dome, there was a two-sided mirror kind of where people could watch from a private room. And I remember at some point during the audition just staring back and looking at that, because you could kind of see the silhouette of people behind there. And I saw someone's silhouette, and then I was kind of staring, and then she started waving at me. And I was like, oh my God, this woman's waving at me. So then I like asked someone like, who's in there? And they're like, duh, Janet. So then I was like, oh my God, she thinks I'm staring at her. Oh my God. So then I was all like freaked out. Like, I don't think I'm a stalker.
Oh my God.
But then she came out, and there's just this, the room is just silent and everyone's excited, and has nothing but the most amazing energy and the biggest smile on her face, and respect for all the people auditioning for her.
Exactly.
That's so awesome. Kel, I want to bring you back to those early 90s because I don't know if you remember around that time, Janet sort of, I guess as the album was happening and sort of just after it was released, she put out that behind the scenes video, and they would sort of show like little clips of you guys in rehearsals, and now those things are all over YouTube. Like you can call them up.
Really?
Yeah. And so obviously, we would see all you guys in rehearsal, like you and Omar and Tina and Nick and all that sort of stuff. Mm-hmm. What do you remember the most from those days, especially because that was your first project with Janet? What do you remember the most from rehearsal? Was there a lot of pressure?
From rehearsal? No, it was just intense. It was long. We were sore. Like, I mean, If was no joke on our bodies. So I remember being like waking up, getting ready for rehearsal, going, I don't even know how I can get through this, but you just push through, because it was just long days, and Tina demanded a lot from us, which I fully respect now looking back at it. She groomed us. She groomed myself to be the dancer I was and am, and being a professional now choreographer and stuff. I learned everything from Tina is what I'm getting at.
Okay.
So it was just long hours, hardcore dancing, but in the middle of it, fun. And Janet always took like amazing care of us, would have refrigerated towels for when were overheating, water, snacks galore, masseuse on hand. So it was just like, it was the epitome of what I've ever dreamt of doing in a dance rehearsal. And I just didn't even know any better that dance rehearsals for other jobs weren't like that, because I just landed into that, and it was, amazing. I feel like I won the lottery. So it was pretty sweet. And then all the dancers were so cool, and we really bonded during that rehearsal process. And also with Janet, she would sit on the floor and eat lunch with us, and we'd all be learning the choreography together. So it was really cool. It was a really nice bonding experience for us.
Now, when you guys were sort of behind the scenes trying to get everything ready, did you guys realize, or did you know how much the fans were sort of behind you guys? Because all of you guys that were sort of on the Janet tour, on the Velvet Rope, on the All For You tour, I would say that and of course you're known as the kids, right? So any sort of hardcore Janet fan knows that. But did you realize what an influence you were having on the people? Like, because I think a lot of artists put dancers behind them and that's it. But you guys were your own stars in a way.
I knew that she had a mass amount of fans, and I didn't think that they were following us until we actually got on tour. And that's when you see signs pop up in the audience with your name on it and not Janet's. Like, are you kidding me? I was like, I couldn't believe it. And I have much love for all the fans that gave us such support over the tours. They just made me feel so special and made me feel like I was, as big as Janet was. So, thank you to all the fans that are listening to this. And I know I've been in hiding, but I do watch the Facebook feeds, and I watch your feed, and I'm like, and I actually know, I know a lot of the fans by name, and I have incredible memories of all my times with them. So it's so cool.
Nick, what about you? What is it like? Because I know that you had success with Britney and all that sort of stuff before, but what was it like sort of coming into the Jan fam, as people call it?
Oh, well, it was amazing because people like Kelly had kind of paved the way as far as dancers who were so well known and had fans and had all these admirers. So I just felt so honored to even be in that company, honestly. And when I look back at it, because now everything's, social media, so it's easy to find out like who's dancing for who, or who does what, or who was that person. But back then, before that existed, it's really interesting how they did know all of our names. They knew all of our jobs and other things we had done and where we were from and our stories. So it was always very humbling, very flattering.
Oh my gosh.
And inspiring, because it made me want to continue to do more and continue to work harder and push myself, because I actually felt like it mattered.
Yeah, and we had to live up to what they expected of us.
And there was a certain, honor and distinguish that came with dancing for Janet Jackson, that to this day people still will say, and randomly, I'll walk into a convenience store and somebody will say, did you dance for Janet?
Yeah.
And we're talking about, 15 years ago that the All For You DVD came out that people still recognize you from. So it's pretty
cool.
wild. Yeah.
You guys should have your own Hall of Fame, I think, the dancers that dance with Janet. I think that would be good. We're trying to do that in our own way here on the show by speaking to all of you, and it's so great. Can you walk us through, because you both were on the All For You tour together, so can you walk us through what a typical day is like when you're on tour? Because again, I think it can be romanticized from fans, like, oh, they're on tour and it's so amazing. How amazing was it?
It's amazing because no matter when you call Kelly Konno, she's always busy. Kelly, let's go do this. Oh, she's busy. No, I'm kidding. We would get to our hotels from the previous night, probably between 3 and 4 a.m.
Yeah.
So by the time you check in, it's already the wee hours of the morning. So by that time, if you're really still awake, then you're hungry, you go downstairs for breakfast.
Exactly.
And then you go up to your room, and then you crash out.
Yep.
And then you probably wake up at noon, revive yourself.
And have to be downstairs for call time.
Yeah. And you can fit in a workout, or maybe if you're in a cool city, then you make time to go see some of the local sites.
Or shop.
For sure, shop. That was a big one. And then we're all, bussed to the venue, where we then start a whole routine of, makeup, hair,
going through any notes or
dinner.
corrections that we had to go over before the show that night.
Sound check, checking out the stage, because things can vary from show to show. Stretching, of course.
I barely stretched. I would do 2 bot-mas on my right leg to get through if. That was about it. Bad.
At the beginning of that show, I remember we were on these lifts that took you high above the stage. So we were waiting for, a good probably 10 minutes up there in those opening positions. And so every night we would play telephone, where the dancer on the end would start something and then pass it to the next person on the pedestal, and then pass it over, and then pass it over. And so that was what we would do while
we'd find ways to entertain ourselves, because it does get monotonous. You know what I mean? Like everybody thinks, oh my gosh, it must be the but when you're in the middle of America sometimes, and you don't have any guests in the audience, and you're just doing the show for like the 200th time or whatever, it does become a job. So we have to keep it fresh. We have to keep it exciting, and keep each other giving each audience our all, pretty much.
On our toes. But what was amazing is Janet, no matter where we were, what show we were doing, never faltered. Like it was always as if it was her first show. And so that kept all of us for sure on our toes.
Oh, big time.
That's a big part of why the people touring with her always want to do their best. Because she's always at her best, which is truly amazing.
And then we'd finish the show, and then continue to get on the tour bus, and then watch the show that we had just performed and do corrections.
Oh, wow.
So it was nonstop.
With
it was
little red wine.
Yeah, exactly.
And Kel, was it true on that tour you actually did some choreography, right? Or helping with some of it?
No, I assisted on that tour because I believe I was one of the only ones that knew all the old stuff.
Yes, Kelly was our Bible.
Okay.
So she would, she really became a mentor for, us, because she had so much experience with the choreography, like Rhythm Nation and Escapade and whatever, Miss You Much, whatever we were learning. Kelly was kind of the expert who would come in and critique and give us notes. And Janet really entrusted those things in Kelly, for Kelly to kind of oversee and
it was super cool. It was super cool for me to be in that position and be given that responsibility on top of the the dancer role. So it was
to really maintain the integrity.
Yeah, it was I even had to go back and study and make sure that I was teaching it properly, even though I had done it for years. I was like, oh, maybe I've settled into a way that wasn't actually originally what it was supposed to be. So I had to go back, and I literally watched every thing and made sure that I was, doing it right. Make sure that I have Anthony Thomas's stuff down pat, Tina's, everything. So
I actually have to ask you both this, because we just are sort of in the 25th year, actually, of the anniversary of Janet's Rhythm Nation. And obviously you both danced that quite a bit. And Kel was on 3 tours with that. And I asked this of Tina, so I'm going to ask this of you. If Janet was to release Rhythm Nation today in 2015, would it be as successful as it was back in 1989? I'll start with you, Kel.
Oh, my goodness. I think yes. I really do. I think it's timeless. I think I still dance to it. I can still put on that album, and I wish she would. I wish somebody would release a song like that, because it's there's some stuff out there that I listen to on the radio, and I'm just like, what is going on? And so, yeah, I think it would be hot.
Nick?
Oh my God, absolutely. And what's amazing with Rhythm Nation is the message, all the social messages she's conveying about like racism,
exactly,
about the planet, about uniting as a people. Like those are still very, very relevant,
oh my gosh,
messages in our society, and things that still need to be explored.
Talked about,
So it was, for then, it was so cutting edge, and for now, it's still pretty forward and still timely. So I think it would still make the huge impact that it made when it
Exactly.
was released.
And on the new generation of kids that need to hear those kind of things, you know?
Absolutely. Like those are the kinds of things that it's amazing when artistry and consciousness meet. And that's what she did on
Ooh, I
that
like
album.
that.
And what do you think that Janet's new dancers are going through right now? Because they're kind of, you know, in full-on rehearsals as they get ready for the Unbreakable tour, and they've got to learn Rhythm Nation. If you were talking to them, what advice would you give them? Nick, I'll start with you.
I would say get some good ice bags.
An Advil.
An Advil. No, they're having the time of their lives, because I remember when we were in tour rehearsals, it was such hard work, but it was the time of our lives, and it's putting together the show that really is like such a fun part, because it's leading you to, you know, this huge exciting climax for when you first go on stage.
Exactly.
So my advice to them would just be to soak it in and, you know, absorb every moment.
Yeah. And I would say to the new dancers, you know, because I've seen a lot come and go through the years, just always just stay humble, hardworking, never get too comfortable. I was always under the impression I could always be replaced easily, though maybe I couldn't. But that's what I lived by. And so just to always remain, you know, focused and know that you are there to dance for Janet and make her look extra fabulous. And that's what their gig is. So
like, don't take anything for granted, because she does go above and beyond, and you can't take any of that.
Yeah, the way that she treats her dancers, you know, some people get a little bit comfortable with that and think that that's normal, and they get, you know, they take advantage of it. So that would be my biggest advice to them. Just stay humble and stay hardworking, and just enjoy, like Nick said, just enjoy every moment of it while being the coolest person ever.
Now,
Kelly Konno.
Oh God.
Now, following along that line, I have to ask you, you both have danced with, you know, other amazing artists, the Britneys, the Pinks, Princes, all that sort of stuff, Michael Jackson. What makes Janet different? Because, you know, I think that anybody that even if you're a casual Janet fan, like, you know, just sort of listen to her music on the radio, you just know that she totally has that X factor and she's just different. But what is it like when you're in that inner sanctum? How is she different from the other amazing artists that you've danced with?
She's such an icon and such a mega star, and, you know, one of the biggest names in the business, but yet she's so personable with her dancers and with the people that she works with. She likes to hang out, and she's funny, and she's, you know, those are the kind of things that I don't think I quite realized.
And her work ethic, I think, sets her apart from most, because whether it's recording her album or all the hours she puts into rehearsing with us, right next to us, you know, that's like a noticeable presence all the time. So I would say her work ethic is unlike most.
Exactly.
It surpasses most. And that's, you know, also what makes her so amazing at everything she does.
Yeah, because there's some artists that don't put in hours, right? Like, it maybe will show up for a couple hours. Like Janet puts in the hours, just like the dancers
She's
did.
there as long as everybody else, and longer.
And that's refreshing, because now that we've both worked with other people, and, you know, everybody has their way of working, and it's totally cool. But that's the difference to me in what I saw working with Janet. She was just in it, like us. You know what I mean? It wasn't like we just saw her occasionally.
So she was like, they kind of talk about this in the military, like you need a leader that actually leads and is in the trenches with you, and that's what she was.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Exactly.
Now, Kel, I'm going to put you on the spot for just a second here.
Okay.
And Nick's going to sit there and giggle, I hope. You've danced with Janet on, you know, 3 major tours, the Janet Tour, the Velvet Rope Tour, and All For You. I'm sure you love them all, but if you had to pick, can you pick a favorite tour that you were a part of?
I'd say the Janet tour, just because it was my first. I was young. It was my first time seeing the world. I mean, and she was like big. Like, we were doing sold out shows everywhere. Yeah, and it was just like a massive tour for me. So I think it was the Janet tour.
Okay.
And that's the first tour I ever saw.
Oh, that's amazing.
That's the first concert I ever went to.
Now I'm going to put you both on the spot with regards to a single song or choreography. So for Nick, what is your favorite Janet song to dance to?
Ooh.
That's a hard one.
Well, of course, If was is iconic. So I loved learning that. But on the All For You tour, we danced to Son of a Gun, and it was just the four guys and Janet. And for some reason, every night I really looked forward to that performance. It was so much fun. The choreography was so cool. And that was a really standout song for me.
Yeah, I mean, for myself, I'd have to say if my body didn't like it, but I sure felt like a superhero every time I did that routine. So that one and Lonely, or I Get Lonely, was one of my other faves because it was just so chill but so cool and different.
So sexy.
Yeah, and I totally sexy, and I was definitely not sexy back then, so I was like it made me feel like a woman that I was not yet.
Now, people that are listening right now obviously know that you guys are both amazing, fantastic dancers. You wouldn't be where you are if it wasn't for your skills. But we want to know, what was the hardest piece of choreography to learn for like the Janet tour or the All For You tour, whatever, which one you were doing. Like, what one were you like, oh my God, I want to shoot myself? Nick?
Oh, let's see. I have to think about this one.
It's almost Rhythm Nation, no?
I would say Rhythm Nation for its details. And then I remember on All For You, we did Trust or Try.
Ooh.
And for some reason, that one was hard.
For me, Rhythm Nation
just
because it was so
the
detailed
details.
And, you just wanted to make sure you were doing it perfect. But there was so much that you had to think of. But yeah, Trust or Try now that you bring that up, oh my goodness. Yeah, those masks and those skateboards we had to roll, and it was weird. Weirdly awesome.
Nice. Now, when I say the following names, I want you to describe, like in one word, describe this person. Okay. So Nick, I'm going to start with you. Jenna Dewan.
Sweet.
Okay. Allison Fuck.
Diverse.
Yeah.
Eddie Morales.
Gangsta.
That's amazing. And of course, Gil.
Stylish.
Yes.
Okay. So Kel, you're up next.
Oh boy.
Tina Landon.
Inspiring.
Nikki Pentenberg.
One of my best friends.
Shawnette Hurd.
Super cool.
And the one and only Tish.
Goofy.
Okay. Fantastic.
Goofy and energetic.
And she loves you, by the way, because you have to listen to our last interview, but she had very good things to say about you, Miss Kelly Konno.
I adore Tish, and I just saw her at Janet's birthday, and that was my first time seeing her probably since the Janet tour, so it was pretty special.
Nice. Yeah, she said she's supposed to come visit you in Canada.
Yes, I can't wait. I hope she does.
Well, I'm going to keep on her because she's just got to finish becoming a doctor, and then she's good to go.
I know.
So I have to ask you now, if Janet came to both of you today and said, Kelly, Nick, I want you on my Unbreakable tour, would you put your current projects on hold and bounce and go with her?
Of course.
Of course.
We're there. We would be roommates. We would even share a room.
Oh my gosh, I would totally share a bunk in the tour bus with Nick Flores. No, of course, I would be there for her in a heartbeat. She's my everything, and I owe her everything. So if she ever needed us, I would.
We're there.
Yeah.
We would bring our canes and bedazzle them to match our costumes, and it'd be amazing.
What would it be like for you guys to reunite with some of the dancers that you guys dance with? You both were on the All For You tour, so if you could reunite with them, because I know Tina said she would actually have no problem suiting back up again for Rhythm Nation. So
awesome! I love that.
I think it would be amazing to have all you guys together. Would that be fun? Would you like to see all the dancers together maybe once in a big reunion, just even as at a party, just to see all of you guys together?
Yes.
Oh my gosh, yes, because partying is something that we mastered together. We all fed off each other's energy in a certain way.
And there is a certain bond between all of us that have been a part of that circle, at one point. Even if I didn't get to work with somebody, just to know that we all danced for her, and there's just something really super cool about that, and it's a family.
It's always a good time.
I think that would be cool.
Yeah.
Let's make it happen, Cal.
I'm on that. And Cal, I'm gonna bug you to help me do it, so get ready. I wanted to ask you as well, because so many of the fans that are listening right now to the show, we're very fortunate that we really would say these are the Janet Jackson hardcore fans that listen to the show, which we appreciate so much, and
awesome.
A lot of them, I think, want to know if Janet knows just how special she is, because we see and we've heard from you guys, we've heard from Tina, we've heard from Tish, Anthony Thomas. They've all been so great about saying how amazing Janet is. But does she know? Does she know the love? Like, obviously, I know she feels the love, but does she know just how special she is with regards to even putting you guys together as a unit? Because obviously, I think you both remember your days with her for the rest of your lives.
Yeah, I mean, just like every other person that's like successful, and I don't know whether she truly knows, because she's still human and has all the insecurities that we all have and question ourselves. And I even had to, like, I was talking to her about a month ago before her birthday, and I was just like, do you realize, I was telling her that I wanted to meet up with Tina and Nikki and Sean, and I said, would you want to join? And she was like, yeah. Like, she's like, but I don't think they would, I'm not invited. So I'm like, oh my gosh, really? Like, there would be no us without you. So we have to remind her every little once in a while, but that just makes me realize, she's human.
Yeah.
So I don't quite know whether she realizes how special she is. I hope she does. And I mean, all the love that the fans give her, I definitely know it reaches her, which makes her, feel so flattered, and she feels loved. So just for the fans, just keep doing what you're doing, because
keep showing the love.
Yeah, just keep showing the love, because she feels it.
What's it like knowing that she's coming back? And I don't even want to say that because I know she never went anywhere, but she obviously took a break, a hiatus, if we can call it that. Yeah. So knowing now, like, that she is coming back with the album, and obviously No Sleep's already out, it's getting airplay, and we all know that she had the BET experience, and now the tour's coming. What do you think it means for the music industry to have Janet Jackson back? Nick, I'm starting with you.
What's exciting is that when you play a Janet Jackson album from start to finish, it's perfection. Like, there is no throwaway songs. There's no, just let me throw this on the album to complete it. Every song is thought out, and it's quite masterful how she does that. So I'm looking forward to having an actual album that I can play from start to finish and just love every minute of it, which is, I think, usually the case with her albums. If I'm
you know what, for myself, I was, when I heard her new single, No Sleep, I was like, surprised that was her first single, but at the same time, I was really excited to hear where she's at in her life, and she doesn't have to do anything but put out something that speaks to her and enjoyable for me to listen to, because I think people want to know what she's been up to and what she's been doing the past few years, and this album's going to explain it. She's been falling in love. She's been loving life. She's been relaxing and enjoying her downtime and getting into other things. And it's like, I'm excited to hear the album just to catch up on her life.
Did you both know, or I mean, obviously, Kel, I know you're friends with her quite a bit. Did you think, though, that she was maybe not going to come back for a while? Because she doesn't have to prove anything. As you both know, Exactly. She's done everything. But it's funny, I saw a picture of her, because obviously when she leaves the scene, she leaves the scene. Like, you don't see pictures of her. She's a master at that. But I think it was about 6 months ago, there was a picture of her, overseas, and it was when she was watching her brothers on stage. And this was before she announced anything. And I saw like a little glimpse, like this glint in the picture in her eye, where she was watching her brothers, and I almost felt like, yeah, she's coming back. Did you think that she was always going to come back and wreck the scene again? Because that's what she does.
Yeah, I knew she'd come back. I mean, it's in her blood. I don't think you can keep people like that down. You just can't. It's what she does. It would be like telling us to never dance again. I had no doubt that she was going to come back. When that was going to happen, or in what capacity, I wasn't sure, but I'm stoked. I mean, shoot, she's back in rehearsals doing what we did, and we're all a little bit older, so kudos to her. I'm stoked to pop into rehearsal, hopefully, and give them my support and meet the new dancers. But yeah, no, I had no doubt she'd come back at some point.
Nick, what about you? Did you think she was coming back?
For sure. I mean, I think it's something in the dance community that's always anticipated anyways. Like people are always like, well, when's Janet coming back? When's Janet gonna have new music? So it's for, the dance community, it's something that never dies or is never not talked about. So it's just a matter of time that we all knew she would have new music and be back on tour. And
I'm glad she took that break.
She got married and is having an amazing, new chapter in her life. So it's understandable that she did want to take time for that. And,
exactly. I would.
Yeah.
Kelly just likes living on an island. Totally.
I'm like, I would totally chill out go hibernate for years and make people want me again.
You.
Oh, she's totally wanted. She is the master, as far as I'm concerned, of running her own PR. Because for her to go away, and because you miss her more. I like it's crazy.
There's a mystery there. Where you're, more interested because it's not
in your face all the time. Yeah, exactly.
Like, it was funny for me, like someone just being a fan, like when she actually spoke on the BET Awards, I hadn't heard her speak in like 3 years.
I know, isn't that crazy?
It was crazy, and it was so nice just to hear her speak.
I cried.
And she didn't.
I cried
did you?
Watching that speech? Oh my god! And I texted her right after, and I was just like, "Congrats!" And you brought tears to my eyes because she was so. I don't know. She seemed very relaxed and very grateful, and just it was so good to see her back up there. And then, as well, looking absolutely stunning.
Yes, she looks like she's 22.
The Jacksons do not age. I swear to, I see Katherine Jackson, and I mean, they're ridiculous.
Yeah, her beauty is unrivaled.
Yeah,
that's crazy.
I want to be her.
Yeah, because she does not look 49. She does not look 49 at all.
No, no way. She looks the same. Like, it's crazy.
And it was so great. And actually, Kel, you've been with her for so long. What was it like seeing her up there with Jimmy Jam and Terry Lewis? Because so many of the fans are just ecstatic that she's back with the A-Team, as far as we're all concerned.
Oh my gosh. I mean, Jimmy and Terry are just like the coolest, and I know them so well, and I know that they have her back, and I know that they are a power team. So to see her up there with them, I mean, like I said, it was very moving to me. It was inspiring. I was just so stoked to see that she's back with them. Yeah,
they're such nice guys.
Yeah, and just they I don't know, they create magic, I think, together, those three.
I think you're right. That's true.
Yeah.
Now, I cannot let you both go without asking you both what you've been up to. Like, because again, you guys are amazing. You've now added choreographer to the list on your resume. So, Nick, I'm going to start with you. I do know you were on the show with me a couple of months ago after Super Bowl, so we know you did Super Bowl with Katy Perry, which is amazing. But what else is going on with you?
Well, I'm still working with Katy Perry at the moment. She's still on her Prismatic World Tour, so there's more shows involved, and she's been going to different countries, so we've been kind of retooling her show to fit in different spaces. And what else? There's a new artist that I just started working for. Her name is Kaya Stewart. She's 15, really young, really cool, and she has a new single out called I'm in Love with a Boy. So check that out.
Nice. And Miss Kelly?
Yeah, I've been acting, and I've been choreographing in Canada. Lots of TV and film up in Vancouver. Just recently worked on The Layover, who was William H. Macy was directing, so that was pretty cool for me. I get lots of really great jobs in Vancouver on TV shows that film there. So I just recently I played Jenny Garth's agent in 90210 in the movie. Yeah, it's so funny because I grew up on that show, so it was pretty cool. But yeah, just pursuing my acting career as well as running my company Triple Threat and doing choreography gigs, even though I don't really consider myself a choreographer, but I actually choreograph sometimes.
A lot.
When she comes off the island.
Yeah, exactly. If anybody can drag me off my island.
And you have to tell people, Kel, about Triple Threat Dance, because if you're in Canada, do you actually have Americans that come up for that, or is it just Canadians that go to your
we have lots of kids from the States that come up, but the majority of them are Canadian. So right now I'm in LA doing an event called The Next Step, and it's preparing dancers for this business, young dancers, aspiring dancers. So I'm still mentoring with that and doing those kind of things. But Triple Threaded's been a big part of my life and one of the things that I'm most proud of. So yeah, and we'll continue to do it for as long as we can.
Amazing. And
Yeah.
before I let you go again, last question for both of you. For the young dancers that are coming up, because we know, again, that a lot of people love dance, want to have careers in dance, want to be like you two. What would you say to someone that's listening right now that's like, I need to do what Nick and Kelly have done?
Do it.
Yeah.
Do they need to move to LA, or do they can they because I know, Kelly, you sort of did the both thing in Canada and the States. Do you need to go to a major center like New York, Los Angeles?
If you want to dance for somebody like Janet, I would say that you have to maybe not move to LA, but you definitely have to get to LA and make yourself known.
Get exposure. You definitely need to be in LA, especially if you're into the music industry. It's definitely more LA centric than New York.
Yeah.
So, yeah. So for anyone that wants to be in the music industry as a dancer, they should come to LA for sure.
And they should study, while they're not in class, they should be studying, all the choreography and just getting that one tool in their bag in case they ever get that opportunity, then they're ready for it.
I love you both. Thank you so much for spending time with us. And you're
so fun talking to you. Thanks for hitting us up
seriously so proud of
chatting
you.
with us.
Thank you so much.
And thank you seriously to all the fans. I miss you guys. I look at your feeds and it's super cool.
And you're both going to come back on the show anytime, right? Anytime I harass you? Okay.
Of course.
And now we're going to work on getting this Janet Jackson dancer reunion happening. We have to.
Yeah, let's do it.
That sounds like a party.
That's awesome. That is Nick Flores, Kelly Konno. Again, you can follow them on their websites, Nick at thegoldenboys.com, and of course, Kelly Konno at triplethreatdance.com. Thank you so much, guys.
Thanks,
Thanks,
Kelly.
Kelly.
Bye.